In the 1990s, Enron was the darling of Wall Street, a dazzling young energy company based in Houston, Texas, whose stock price soared higher and higher, year after year, decade after decade. In 1996, Fortune magazine proclaimed it one of the most innovative corporations in the world. Its charismatic CEO Jeffrey Skilling was celebrated as a visionary leader, and his peers gushed over his famous fun in the sun strategy. While some pundits criticized his management style as too brash or too bold for an old-school fuddy-duddy type industry such as oil and gas, it mattered not. Everyone agreed that Enron was one of the most exciting companies around. But what if this seemingly invincible titan was actually an insidious fraud? What if the media's shining example of entrepreneurial innovation was actually a sham, propped up by layers of lies, half-truths, and dubious accounting practices? Welcome to our channel where we uncover the dark side of the human story. This is the incredible story of Enron, the largest corporate scandal in American history, which almost brought down the entire U.S. economy and changed corporate America forever. How did one of the fastest-growing companies in the world manage to deceive investors, regulators, and journalists for so long? Well, as you probably already guessed, it all started with money. Enron began in 1985 as a small natural gas pipeline company serving the southwestern United States. But under the leadership of CEO Jeffrey Skilling and Chairman Kenneth Lay, Enron reinvented itself into a high-tech energy trading platform, buying and selling electricity, natural gas, and even weather futures, like rain insurance for farmers. Skilling claimed that Enron had discovered a new way of doing business, where profits would flow endlessly through the magic of the internet. Anyone who bought shares in the company would enjoy unbelievable growth in their portfolio. Excited investors poured in billions of dollars, and the company's stock price skyrocketed. But here's the thing, Enron wasn't actually making nearly as much money as they claimed. Oh no, not even close. But rather than come clean to investors, Skilling and other top executives cooked the books, hiding their dismal financial performance and giving investors the impression that they were making a killing, when in fact, they were losing everything. You see, Enron used a clever accounting trick known as mark-to-market accounting. Basically, this allowed them to record profits from deals that had not yet made money and might never make money at all. But on paper, Enron looked like a goldmine and excited investors kept pumping money into the company. As Enron grew, so did its web of lies. To keep the charade going, Skilling and his cronies set up a series of shady shell companies run by top Enron executives, which conveniently took on Enron's growing debts and losses, allowing the company to portray an image of unlimited success. Of course, these secret entities only existed to help prop up Enron's balance sheet. They weren't real businesses. They were make-believe entities designed to conceal the company's mounting debt. But it worked. Financial analysts, dazzled by Enron's reputation and dizzying growth, continued to recommend the stock to their clients, urging them to jump in before it's too late. Employees invested their life savings, and politicians praised Enron as a model of capitalism at its best. But behind the scenes, key figures at the company knew the truth. Enron was a house of cards. It was hemorrhaging money. The company was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. But rather than blowing the whistle, many of these insiders got swept up in the hype. They wanted in on Enron's explosive growth, and didn't want to spoil the party, so they kept quiet and watched as Enron careened towards disaster. However, one man who knew he should have spoken out was Sharon Watkins, an accountant who joined Enron in 1978, now fast-tracked to 2001, when she noticed serious discrepancies between Enron's reported profits and the company's actual financial results. She sounded the alarm, warning her boss that if the company were to ever be honest about their true earnings, they would be declaring bankruptcy. But her boss ignored her concerns and fired her when she complained. Still, Watkins wasn't the only one to raise the alarm. Several other Enron employees also came forward with evidence of wrongdoing, only to be ignored or silenced. But soon enough, the chickens came home to roost. In October of 2001, a reporter from the Wall Street Journal named Betsy Woodruff began digging into Enron's murky dealings. She uncovered a tangled web of questionable accounting practices and hidden debts, all aimed at making the company look far more profitable than it really was. When she published her findings, the fallout was immediate. Investors who had been duped by Enron's lies began pulling their money out of the company in droves. But there was one tiny problem. Enron was already bankrupt and had been for quite some time. All those billions of dollars that investors had poured into the company over the years had vanished into thin air. In the blink of an eye, Enron imploded. On December 2, 2001, the scandal-ridden company filed for bankruptcy, becoming the biggest bankruptcy in U.S. history at the time. Billions of dollars evaporated overnight. Investors who had trusted Enron with their hard-earned savings lost everything, and thousands of hard-working employees were left without a job, a pension, or a future. Thousands of families were torn apart. People took their own lives. Children went without food and basic medical care. It was a financial apocalypse. But the scandal didn't stop there. As investigators dug deeper into Enron's collapse, they uncovered a massive accounting scandal involving one of the world's most powerful accounting firms. Arthur Andersen. It turned out that Andersen had been complicit in Enron's lies, helping them hide billions of dollars in debt and inflate their stock price. The scandal was so big that it shook the entire accounting industry and led to the demise of Andersen, which collapsed within months of Enron's bankruptcy, taking 85,000 jobs with it. But perhaps the most shocking part of the scandal was yet to come. Top Enron executives, including CEO Jeffrey Skilling and Chairman Kenneth Lay, were arrested and put on trial. Skilling was convicted on 19 counts of conspiracy, fraud and insider trading, and sentenced to more than 20 years in prison. Meanwhile, Lay was found guilty of 6 counts of fraud and conspiracy, but died before he could be sentenced. The Enron scandal was bigger than one company. It revealed fundamental flaws in corporate governance and accounting, and shook global trust in corporate America. It shattered public faith in big business and forced the government to take action. In 2002, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which imposed strict regulations on corporate accounting and executive responsibility in an effort to prevent another Enron from happening again. So what can we learn from the fall of one of America's most powerful corporations? First, it's important to remember that greed and arrogance often go hand in hand. Enron executives believed that they were smarter than everyone else, and that the rules didn't apply to them. They thought they could get away with their lies forever, but as we know, they couldn't. Second, it's important to be wary of charismatic leaders who seem too good to be true. Skilling was a master manipulator who knew how to sell a dream. He promised investors and employees that they would make a fortune with Enron, but it was all just an illusion. Finally, it's crucial to speak up when you see something that doesn't seem right. Sharon Watkins knew that Enron was on the verge of bankruptcy, but she was ignored. If more people had spoken up, maybe things could have turned out differently. And now for a quick moment, please take your eyes off the screen and do us a favor. Click the like button.